Hey folks, just letting you know we're starting in about 3 minutes. We had a few people that got held up, so we're just trying to be patient but also respectful of your time. So in just about 3 minutes or so, we'll get started. Okay, folks, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to break this little party up over here. All right, first of all, thank you for coming today. Welcome to the Connection, the Empowerment Center. We're excited to be here. My name is Mike Brazier. I'm part of the Doc Rock leadership team as well as the Vision Excellence team, and is also part of the team here at the Connection. So we got a great place. We got a great opportunity to share with you today. Juneteenth is important for everybody because this is a celebration of freedom, celebration of growth, prosperity, opportunity. So we're excited for you to be here today, and I couldn't think of nobody better to have this conversation than Doc Rock. Most of you all know Doc. Doc has been all over the world. He has a phenomenal perspective, unbelievable amount of training and depth to him. So it's a great opportunity for somebody of his quality to share with you today and to engage. So we've got a video that we'll start. It's called The Sounds of Blackness, and then we'll go ahead and get through the program. Thanks.
Juneteenth celebration. I wish I could dance like that, though. You know, I could, yeah. And I thought some of y'all would get up and dance, but I guess I should have got up and led y'all. Good. So I want to appreciate everybody coming and taking out your time to come for our first time we ever did this. Juneteenth, just time of talk and reflection and Q&A. Hopefully we can open up some things and talk about what we're going forward. And, you know, it's important, and Mike said this in the introduction, that this is not just about blacks, it's not just about Hispanics, it's not just about whites, it's about everybody. And Juneteenth is a celebration for everybody and everyone. Before we get into teaching today, Josh is going to play another video explaining what Juneteenth is and what it's about, and then we're going to come back and talk to you for about 2 hours. I'm sorry. Red's going to be gone if I talk that long. I mean, Pete over there. But talk about 20 minutes and then have some Q&A. And we promise to have you at lunch, which would be in Mud's Fellowship Hall. Whether you can eat here or take it to go, we promise to have it at 1 o'clock, okay? So we're going to be on schedule. So Josh, if you don't mind playing the next video, and then we're going to come back. Thanks.
This world is one great battlefield with forces all arrayed. If in my heart I do not yield, I'll overcome someday. I'll overcome someday. I'll overcome someday. If in my heart I do not yield, I'll overcome someday.
Like the Civil War itself, slavery didn't end with one decisive act. After the Battle of Antietam in September 1862, President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in January 1863. It declared all persons held as slaves within the rebellious states to be free. Northern abolitionists welcomed the proclamation as a first step, while Southern slave owners ignored it. Ending slavery would take a constitutional amendment passed in January 1865, Robert E. Lee's surrender at Appomattox in April 1865, the heroism of many enslaved families, and the Union Army itself to personally deliver the news to the most remote corners of the conquered Confederacy.
The proclamation that Lincoln signed didn't find its way into Texas, which is where my father's family is from, and the Rambo family, until mid-June of 1865.
On June 19th, Union General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston and personally delivered the news.
The people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor.
There was a lot of celebration, but there was also a lot of sadness, a lot of concern, a lot of fear. Both enslaved Africans and those who held slaves didn't know what really to do now. As freed Americans, where were we to go?
"150 years later, June 19th is a day of remembrance and celebration.
I think my first Juneteenth celebration was when I was 6 or 7, because I remember roasted ears of corn. And this was in Austin, Texas. And then coming here, I was surprised and really astounded to find out that Minneapolis, St. Paul have such a strong connection with Juneteenth. It stands to reason with the number of people who probably migrated this far north who brought with them that tradition.
Every year in Texas, Minnesota, and around the country, Juneteenth is marked with music, food, and fellowship.
We are celebrating at Mississippi Regional Park. There's all ages here. I just see all kinds of people and colors.
It's amazing to me that especially among the African American culture, we have a little bit of a fear of embracing that history, because there's some shame connected to slavery. I don't feel that way. I feel that that is such an important part of who I am as a person. The strength that I have within me comes from that struggle.
African American Independence Day. So we're celebrating. Yep. Our day of liberation, our day of liberation.
It's important to have opportunities for us to celebrate our oneness, our wholeness, our completeness, our dynamic selves. It's vital to African American people to have an opportunity, a date that heralds the importance of who we are as a people and what we've been through as a people.
Juneteenth gives African American communities a chance to reflect on their ancestors' struggles and achievements, and also to spotlight current issues.
There is a lot going on in this world. There's a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, and a lot of uneasiness. The foundation you have can kind of give you a little bit more of a sure footing, because you can look and say, well, wait, my family made it through this hatred. Somehow they made it through. Yeah, so take that strength and go up to the next level.
I love seeing the support that I get every year. It's always new people I'm meeting and hopefully collaborating with them so we can have Juneteenth and not let it die. It's so important.
If in my heart I do not yield, I'll overcome someday.
All right, put your hands together for that right there. That is good. I was thinking the other day, and I said, okay, what can we do, And I said, well, let me just use my gift and what I believe God has called me to do, and let's have a conversation. Let me talk about this subject called A Mind Free to Prosper, because we can't forget Juneteenth. We love July the 4th as Independence Day for our country. We live in a great country. I've been all over the world. Every time I get on the plane, to come back, and every time I hit the soil, I'm like, thank God I'm back in America. I mean, my first trip to Africa was over about 30 years ago, and I had a great time in Nigeria. And Brandon been in Nigeria with me, and Mike, but when I got back to the United States of America, I wanted to kiss the ground. Thank you. We live in a great country. Now, we're not a perfect country. We have some things that we need to work on, but we cannot forget that when our independence as African Americans, as blacks in this country, really came after Juneteenth in 1865. And people were still living in slavery, of course, around the world until the Union troops got there to Galveston, Texas, and made a declaration that, hey, you all are free. But the thing about freedom is emancipation, which comes from the Latin word emancipatus, which literally means to be set from bondage. The thing about being set from bondage is that sometimes that's not just a physical thing, that is a mental thing. And that's why I want to talk about a little bit today, this fact of being emancipated, this fact of being set free, this fact of being able to go past where we at. Now let's talk about slavery for just a minute, because slavery was not just physical, it was more mental than anything. And I've had this discussion with many people, white, black, just Peter and I. Peter sitting out there was just talking last week doing breakfast at Another Broken Egg about the mental slavery, mental bondage that many people have. And mental bondage refers to this limitation of cognitive ability. This form of ability to think out past yourself. Inhibited by culture, inhibited by things saying what you can't do. And mental slavery remains the biggest form of oppression to this day. Not physical, but mental slavery, because if you have chains on your brain, you cannot go forward in what we're called to do. Slaves were conditioned to think of themselves as being inferior. And we're going to go some. And today is not about slavery, but we have to give a backdrop of where African Americans came from to where we need to go today. because of the Willie Lynch story and things of this nature, we was conditioned not to love one another. We was conditioned not to trust one another. We was conditioned that everything we did and had was inferior. And I tell sometimes people try to make you feel, no matter what race you are, try to make you feel inferior in order for them to feel superior, okay? But this inferiority complex hunts us today. Years and years ago, maybe this is my first time to Israel, about 25 years ago. We was in Yad Vashem Holocaust Museum. And I was there with four of my white friends, Ed Shankwala, Harry Kuma, and the late Dr. Jimmy Usher. And we was in Yad Vashem going through the Holocaust Museum there in Israel. And I never forget, Maurice, Jimmy walks up to me, and Jimmy passed about 4 years ago. Jimmy was like 80 years old when he passed. And so Jimmy walks up to me, who's old enough to be almost my grandfather. He said, why do blacks allow us to forget what you went through? Here's a white man telling me this. I said, huh? He said, the Jews will never allow the world to forget what they went through. They wouldn't allow it. He said, if you don't, he's a Caracas, called me Bishop at the time. He's a bishop. If you don't, talk about your past, then it has a tendency to repeat. And I said, never thought of it that way. And the simple matter is that we have to be free and understand what came on African Americans for us, not just physical, but mental. Because if you can't break from that, then you cannot prosper in a very prosperous country. I tell people, you're in America, Jack. You're in the most prosperous nation in the world. But if we don't understand that from Juneteenth that we are free, and not just free, physically, but free from a mental standpoint, which we're going to talk about. See, if you can never be the head if you think like the tail. Right? The good book says, anybody like the good book? I like the good book, okay? The good book says that we made the head, not the tail, above only, not beneath, the lender, not to borrow. But I tell people, if you're going to go forward, we're going to go forward as a people, not just as African Americans, but as a people, as Caucasians, whether you're from Ireland, whether you're from England, whether you're from wherever, if we're going to go forward as a people, we must go together free, okay? And we must go together thinking that we can be on the top, okay? And not that other people on the bottom of you, but that you can achieve everything that God has called you to achieve. But that's important. You know, if we're going to go forward in this city, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. We got and good Reggie that you're here, the wonderful work that you're doing in our city. But we're going to go forward. Then it don't start just with a program. It starts with your mind. The power to define is the power to determine destiny. I said it again. The power to define is the power to determine destiny. What do I mean by that? So if someone can define who you are from a mental complex position, then they can tell you how far you can go in life and what you can do. Now let's talk about the mind, because the mind is a powerful thing. The great Solomon said, as a person thinks, so is he. We are what we think. You are today what you thought yesterday. You're going to be tomorrow what you're thinking right now today. So how is our thinking? From Juneteenth until now, how do we think? Do we think we can be entrepreneurs? Do we think that we can be in politics? Do we think, that we can have great education? Okay, what are we thinking? Because how you think is how you are. Do you think that you can have another race, a person as your friend, as a person that you can travel with? Do you think that's possible? Okay, I tell people, shoot for the galaxy and maybe you will land on the moon. But you got to think about the galaxy. See, because if you cannot see it on the canvas of your imagination, then your mind is in bondage of what you really can be in life, right? You know, and all of us have a past, okay? And I tell this story a lot. You know, my story was born in the projects and all those type things. All right, but it's not where you start; it's where you're going. And on that night, even on Emancipation Proclamation, watch night, they was waiting for Lincoln to pen them free, and people stayed up all night long, okay, in order to see that happen and celebrate it out there. Juneteenth, they celebrated out there, but we can't just celebrate. We have to celebrate and see where we're going, because if we cannot see where we're going, we cannot get there. You cannot have anything you don't see. Okay? The mind is the controller of thought, habit, and action. The mind is the controller of habit, thought, and action. And so if we're not free in our mind, then it controls our habits. Our habits control what we are and what we can become. And it definitely controls the actions we'll take in life in order to go forward. And that's very important. So we can be all that we're called to be. Just because you are of African descent don't mean that you're inferior. And I know people, and I don't know everybody realize that, but we realize that with our mouth, but are we realizing that with our mind in order for actions to start to take place in our life in order to achieve some things that maybe one longer time ago we thought we could not achieve. To be really honest with you, we had more prosperous black-owned businesses in the 50s and 60s than we even do today. Okay, and the reason is, can I help you some as I help myself? And because then when we had segregation, we had to support one another. Reg, I had to go and eat your wings. I could not go and eat Greg Brown wings. I had to go eat your wings because Greg wouldn't let me. Now, neither one of them are like that, right? Okay? But the deal of the matter is that once it opened up for me to be able to go and eat Peter wings, okay, raise your hand. Peter said, no, you are. I paid all of them to be a part of this. Yeah. But okay, then okay, I had an opportunity, so I did not, because inferiority was in my brain that I was conditioned for 400 years, even after Lincoln penned me free, and even after they stood up in Galveston, okay, and said I'm free on Juneteenth. My mind was still inferior, so anytime I had an opportunity to go and drink, okay, the white man's tea, his ice was colder. We've heard that before, right? Many of us grew up. I talk to some of my white friends, and I say, the white man's ice is colder. And they look at me like, Doc, what are you talking about? And so what that meant is that even though Juneteenth liberated us from our mindset, liberated us from physically, but our mindset was still that if it's white, it's better. Matter of fact, just to be really honest with you, when we go places and Mike and I go places, even though I'm the CEO, I'm not bragging, I'm not on titles and all that, but generally they speak to Mike before they speak to me. And I'm not talking about whites, I'm talking about blacks. Generally, we're all sitting at the table and we're eating, and Mike can say, boss has it, our CEO is going to pay for it, and they bring the ticket to him or James. And then when they bring the ticket to me, they say things like, you the boss? No, this is literally has happened, literally happened. We was in Shake Shack, Big Shake, yeah, Shake Shack is my other place, but Big Shake. And Mike and I said, I'm gonna pay for your food, and we went to pay for the food, and I went up, and the guy, young black guy there, he said, it's great that you can joke with your boss. And Mike said, he is the boss. And the young black gentleman said, you the boss? I said, yeah. If you want to call me the boss, I call myself the leader, but okay. He said, you got it going on. Right, but and he meant that in a very positive way. But the fact of the matter is, he has a little inferiority, even though Juneteenth has liberated him. That same inferiority works within the tapestry of our cities and the tapestry of what we do on an everyday basis. Now, Tish, to be full exposed and be vulnerable, I had an experience similar to this in Nigeria. Well, Brandon and I, we had to fly from Lagos to Abuja, the capital. Okay, and so Rachel, we're flying, and we get to the airport, and the people who checked me in looked like me, were black, And then and when once we got on the plane, they look like me. All the stewardesses, they look black. And as I walked to my seat, I looked in the cockpit. I saw 2 black people in the cockpit. And when I sat down, Tish, on that plane, some just got all over me. Now, this is years ago. Some just got all over me. It really did. I'm telling the truth. And we stared and I'm like, okay. Now, I've been on planes where blacks were, the attendants, flight attendants. I've been on few planes that a black may have been the pilot or the co-pilot. But everybody on this plane, it's Soul Airway, baby. Everybody on the plane looks like me. And my slave man deep down mentality rose up in me, and I got a little jittery until I had to calm myself and say, hey, what are you thinking? This is years ago. But this is how strong mental bondage and depression of mental complex has plagued the African American person. And most people don't even talk about it, okay? It goes unconsciously, okay, throughout their life to keep them from being all that they can be. The human soul, the mind, has an absolute potency to choose between bondage and breakthrough, fear and faith, death and life, regardless of the extremity of the conditions. No matter what extremity of the conditions are, you have the power within yourself, okay, to choose bondage, okay, or breakthrough, to choose fear or faith, to choose death or life. But it has to be something that is done on purpose. Every type of creativity and crowning first reside in the human mind. Every type of creativity and crowning first resides in the human mind. Are you made or you're marred? Noble or ignoble? Successful or failure? It's part of the creation of your mind. This is the reason why your mind is the most powerful machine in the world. Your mind is the most powerful machine in the world. We just celebrated Juneteenth, and people, and the day is the observance of it. It was signed into law. It's a national holiday. It's really good. Hopefully we'll keep going forward. But the fact of the matter is, we just now started celebrating Juneteenth in our area. I'm just learning about it maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Listen, I didn't really know what it was myself. Even though we teach, okay, on liberation and things, okay, all the time. Why? It's just now migrated here. Remember, it started in Texas and then went around the country. Okay? And I'm glad that it's around our country, not as a reminder, okay, of how bad white people was, but a reminder of how our society was and how we can go further. Hello? Because the issue is not, okay, necessarily just what happened. The issue is, what are you going to do today? Where are you going to go today? How are you going to progress today? Because we can blame people all day long. And maybe there's some validity to it. Maybe a little bit that is warranted. But what are you and I going to do about our freedom and us going forward as people in this great country called the United States of America? Mindset. It's important. It is the integration of your self-worth, self-concepts, self-esteem, and your sense of value. I said it again. Mindset. It's important. It is the integration of your self-worth, your self-concepts, your self-esteem, and your sense of value. Because if you don't have a true sense of value, you can wear Juneteenth, freedom and shirts and colorful. We can wear them. We can strut them. We can buy them for people. We can smile. But if your mind is not free, you just got a shirt on. You just got another shirt that you can put with all the other ones that you got at all the family reunions and all the concerts and all the other stuff that we have. How many of y'all don't like those family reunion shirts? You don't wear them anymore. I mean, you may wear them every once in a while, once or 2 times. Oh boy, that's just a waste of money. Okay. Oh, that's another subject. I'm sorry. Mindset, here it goes. You need to listen to this. I'm about done. Mindset dictates your response to the present and determines the quality of your future. I challenge my mindset daily. I have tough conversations with people that don't look like me. I have tough conversations with others that do look like me. Why? To be challenged to go beyond my original expectation, my original, plan, my original what I would do. I challenge my mind every day not to be part of the status quo. If I'm going to celebrate Juneteenth and it's going to be freedom for me, I'm going to be free. I'm going to be free. I'm going to be free to help a bunch of people. You don't know her, but Tisha's sitting here. You don't know her. You will get to know her. She's doing many, many great things to help, people in businesses in this city and many African Americans. Pushing them. She's aiding them. About 500 companies she's worked with now. It's really awesome. And I remember speaking for her a few years ago. And I'm like, it's incredible. And I'm calling her out because this is what Juneteenth is about for me. Everybody have their space, to celebrate. Mine is education. Mine, is community service. Mine is, how can we move the needle? I'm always saying this. Anybody who's been around me, how can we move the needle? How can we take Juneteenth, a time of celebration? How can we use it to change? Change us first. I think many of us need to go back, and you ain't got to do the kick like Michael Jackson. But everybody, we need to go back and we need to put on Man in the Mirror. Whatever you think about Michael Jackson, forget him. Listen to the lyrics. Listen to the lyrics. Going to make a change for once in my life. He said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And I believe we all must start, we must start with self, right? If you can be the leader of one, you can be the leader of many. But if you can't be the leader of one, you cannot be the leader of any. We have to start with us. Freedom must start with us. Celebration must start with us, must start with our family. We just had Father's Day on yesterday in the United States of America. And fathers were applauded and given things all around, and they should, because fathers have to take their rightful place. Fathers must be free to be fathers. It's all about freedom. It's not just about police brutality. Yes, that's part of it. Yes, we need conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Absolutely. I'm part of all of that. But let's not let those words, stop us from doing what's really, really necessary. Let's not just be politically correct. We need community inclusiveness. We need to be part of the community, and see what happens. So we're talking about a mind to prosper. You got about 2-3 more minutes, and then we're going to take some questions and answers. Prosper. What does it mean to prosper? It means to succeed in an enterprise or an activity, to achieve economic success, to become strong and flourishing, We must learn how to walk in success and prosper even during times of failure. Failure is part of prosperity. Failure is part of going forward. There's nobody I know who has been successful who have not failed. And many times, because when you're in bondage for so long, anytime failure show up, you think change still on you or back on you. And you got to push through the feeling that you bound up and say, hey, this part of my growth, this is part of my maturity, I go forward. You have to be able to see, even in bad times, on the canvas of your imagination, how free you are to be all that you can be. Don't let your background stop you from going forward. Very important. Very important. So, I love Juneteenth celebrations. I do. We showed the videos, the food, the fun, the festivities. All that is good. They're going all around. But if our mind don't see hope in the future, it's just another party. It's just another party. And I don't mind partying. Hey, who don't like a good party from time to time, right? It's all right. But we don't need just another party. We need liberation of thought, liberation of ideas, liberation of love, liberation of living, so we can go where God have called us to go, together. And you don't have to be in some silo in order to prosper in this community and in this country. You don't. Huntsville, North Alabama, is prospering in many ways, majorly. U.S. News called us the #1 city in America to live in. What? In America, Huntsville, Alabama. The #1 city in the country to live in. I mean, buildings everywhere. I mean, everywhere you go, there's scaffolding. Everywhere you go, you know that the roads are being worked on. I mean, just prosperity after prosperity after prosperity. People are living good. People know rent is going up, mortgage is going up. I mean, food is going. Hey, okay, but anyway, it's just prosperous, right? Prospering. But what good is it to say Juneteenth and us to have a good time and eat some barbecue and eat some chicken? I mean, that's really, really good. But are we a part of the fabric of the growth of this area? Greg and I talk about this all the time. Some people will choose not to be a part of it. That is their choice, Daniel. But we must provide the opportunity for everyone to be a part of this growth, of this prosperity, of what's going on. But if you cannot see yourself part of it, you can't be a part of it. We can bring you all types of things and help you all kind of ways. And you know, Reggie, you can do all the things you're doing with North Huntsville Association there. But the deal is, if they cannot see it, they cannot have it. We got to train people to open their minds in order to have a mind to prosper. It is yours. It is available. You may have felt like a slave, but nobility is on you. And that's how the kings and priests, that's how they wave. And you got to get your wave right. You got to stop. Hey, how y'all doing? And you got the wave right. You got to get your wave, amen, because he's King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Don't let me preach. And you got to understand that. And that's very important. So let's have a mind to prosper. Let's go forward. Let's celebrate Juneteenth. Let's barbecue. Let's grill like on the 4th of July. Let's shoot fireworks, all those things. And don't do it by ourselves. Grab a couple of your Asian friends. Grab a couple of your Caucasian friends. Grab a couple of your Hispanic, Latino friends and say, come on over. We're going to shoot some fireworks for the freedom of African Americans. Join in. And guess what? On July the 4th, we'll join in with you as well. Let's have a good time, because it's not about African Americans, it's about everybody. It's about everybody being free to prosper and do all that's within you, okay? You have greatness in you, but you're going to take some work to get out of you. And if you fall, try to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up, but you got to be able to believe that. And you got to be able to trust that. And I close, no bad days. Bad minute, bad hour, but no bad days. You would think that the slaves had bad days, but they were singing even on some days that we'd have called bad. They was praying even on some days you'd have called bad. They were singing Negro spirituals, you know, take me to the water. And the slave master thought they were going to the water, but they talking about somebody come to the water in order to escape. But they were singing those songs, and they was praising God in the midst of cruel things. And here's the deal. They knew that a better day was coming. And in this country, we have a better day ahead of us. Not just African Americans, but as Caucasians, as Asians, no matter what your ethnicity is, okay, you are a brother, you are a sister in God, okay? And we cannot have no bad days, okay? Too much going on. Say, shout no bad days. No bad days. Shout no bad days. No bad days. One more time, shout no bad days. No bad days, a man to prosper. So here it is. It's Super Sunday. It's Marvelous Monday. It's Terrific Tuesday. It's Wonderful Wednesday. It's Triumphant Thursday. It's Fantastic Friday. It's Successful Saturday. I'm Doc Rock, Juneteenth. Let's go to the top. We wanted, hopefully you got something out of that, a little bit anyway. I didn't want to bore you or keep you long. But if you don't mind, we're going to do like a little Q&A, and the microphones are there, and you can ask any questions. If we can't answer them, we'll just tell a story. No, I mean, we'll try to find an answer. But we just want to talk about our community and how do we go forward. And now this is Q&A. This is not for you to come up and give like a dissertation of what you think. This is question and answer. and if you don't mind, I want Greg Brown, if he don't come, my friend, to come up, and they're going to give him a microphone. I just drafted these people today, and our female today going to be Marcy, if you don't mind coming up. And she looking like, oh, Doc, I'm not dressed. I said, well, be ready. Praise God. And they don't mind, and we're going to move this to the side. And thank you, Mike. Mm-hmm. And let's look. Check. I can talk loud enough. But I think it's on YouTube, so. Test. Okay, all right. Yeah, you got you. All right.
Hello?
So Greg, let me say, Greg is, and somebody, my bald head is sweating, and somebody give me something. It'll help me just a little bit. Thank you, Maurice. I tell you, boy, he got a child with him. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Greg Brown is the chairman of the board for Huntsville-Madison County Chamber of Commerce. He's formerly been the chairman for the Committee 100. He's involved in May Jemison, North Huntsville, just a bunch of stuff. And we have candid conversations many times. So, Greg, you don't mind just saying what's on your heart, and then right quick, and then anything, and then it's just Marcy, and then we'll take some Q&A for the next 10 minutes.
Well, after you got finished with that little soliloquy, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I wanted to stand up and dance. Every time I talk, this is my friend first, no matter what, anything else, I learned something. And as he said, we are experiencing an unbelievable amount of economic prosperity in all of us in this room, all of us at the chamber, all of us at City Hall, all of us at the county courthouse, all of us in all of our churches are absolute failures if we do not include everybody that wants to be included in this opportunity, whatever that looks like for anybody. And so that's what my passion is. That's what Doc's passion is. I would ask the mentality that you talked about, what can be done from a campaign kind of thing to kind of spread that kind of thinking and that kind of opportunity. I can sit here and talk to you all day about what we're going to do as a community, as a chamber of entrepreneur innovation, and wonderful programs are going to happen, but that mental side of it is concerning to me.
Well, Greg, I think everything starts with self-awareness, and you got to be aware of who you are. And we have to teach self-awareness because most people don't understand who they are. They think they know who they are, and I thought I knew who I was until 10 years ago when I was challenged and got deep into my emotional intelligence, and then started teaching that and started finding out things about myself, my weaknesses, my strengths, and who I am. And I think we have to have some conversations on who we are. And this is who are you, and where can you go? And these are the opportunities. It's about education. Now, I know that's very simple, but the whole thing is to be educated. I'm where I'm at, not because I was raised in an educated family. I got educated. I learned things, and I'm no special. I'm no different than anybody else. We all can learn, and I think it starts there.
I would like to say one more thing, too. In my company, we are rednecks from Alabama, so we had that stigma. And one time we got this big medical customer, and they came and inspected us, and I worried that we were an aerospace company, and why would you want us to make medical implants for you? And he said it was strategic for us to come to Huntsville because of the culture here of high tech, and that helped our corporate self-esteem. So from that point forward, hey, maybe we do know what we're doing. Certainly we failed a lot of times, and we've gotten up a lot of times. But as you go through and you fail and you succeed and you reach out and there's tons of people in this town that want to help people succeed and use those resources that are available. I know my mentality as a man, as a leader, as a CEO is way more confident than even just a few years ago.
Wow. And let me say this, and we can talk, Gary and I talk candid. He said it was rednecks. I mean, that's the mentality. Yeah. But when he saw what he could do and what they could do, then it brought confidence. And I think we have to have that low-hanging fruit and get some of those wins. This is Marcy Watkins, Jefferson Watkins, and Marcy is the chief program administrator for Ability Plus, and she owns her own business on her husband, Solutions for Success. And I just kind of drafted her because I can, and because she has something to say. So, Marcy, you don't mind sharing, and then we have some questions.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm very honored to be on this platform. Dr. Watkins, thank you. I do apologize for my attire, but I represent the youth on today. So, but let me say that I am very ecstatic about the celebrations that have gone on throughout the country, especially here within our community. And it does start with not only festivities and fun, but information. So thank you for doing this today. I do represent the mental health community as a licensed professional counselor. Everything begins and ends in the mind. So we can be free and celebrate our freedom, but we are still mentally bound by our past, by our current circumstances or our past circumstances. We will not go forward. So that is the profession that I'm in, helping people to become liberated in their mental capacities and to also receive healing. Healing has to begin within our country, and I think that celebrating Juneteenth is an awesome way to begin that, just by us acknowledging where things were wrong in the past, but however we are moving forward in economics, in education, and all types of entrepreneurial endeavors. So thank you.
Well, thank you. So we want to open it up for any questions that you have. If you have, if you have a quick comment, sure. Okay. Okay. The mic is on. Mm-hmm.
First of all, Dr. Rock, awesome job. We had the opportunity to go to a lot of Juneteenth events. What you done today was missing. They didn't have that. I wish it was on a broader scale. So it was fun, it was fun, but the information you gave, I think we was there, and I had a good time. But what you done today should have been on a bigger scale to explain to lots of us. Yeah, it was missing. I went to a lot of activities. So I appreciate the information you gave today.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Brandon. Brandon is over the Cater Youth Services, director of Cater Youth Services. And our young people need to know about Juneteenth from this perspective. They need to know about who they are. And the reason why I believe I've led to do this is because of the festivities and all, but what's lacking is the information, is a conversation about that. And I'm going to put somebody on the spot. Reg, you don't mind giving a comment from your perspective of what you're doing in the community and who you are? You don't mind doing that, Reg? I hate to call you out, but I'll pay for your lunch later.
Reggie McKenzie, I'm with the North Huntsville Business Association. I'm also executive director of Harris Home for Children. Been in this community a while, and the movement that I see now is very important. And people ask me, say, Reggie, you've seen a lot of things. And I have, and I'm not bitter about it. I served as the first black on the Huntsville Hospital board, and they treated me pretty bad.
I'm not clapping for the bad, I'm clapping for the board.
But what I felt, what I understand now, once I went back and looked at it, I was in the room, I was the first black, 30 years old, with a couple of older white guys who wasn't used to a black person being on the board. So I probably carried them a little too fast, Doc. I think if I would have kind of been a little slower in helping them come to grips, because my thing was, we had doctors all over Owens Cross Road and different places, but we had no doctor in North Huntsville. So I had them to put a map up on the board. We had like 70 doctors. I said, is something wrong with North Huntsville? They said, it won't work in North Huntsville. We'll lose $100,000. And my question to them, I said, well, I think we'll make money. But what they said, well, our numbers say that, we're gonna have 300 patients, and 208 of them are gonna be indigent, and 20 of them gonna be Blue Cross Blue Shield. I said, well, my numbers say 280 gonna have Blue Cross Blue Shield, and 20 gonna be indigent. They said, well, where you get your numbers from? I said, I made them up just like you all did.
And you did all that on the first day?
That was about my second meeting. But the point to that is that we didn't know, but Dr. Michael Johnson built a new facility in North Huntsville. He was the top doctor in their network the first year. It's a black doctor, right across from We Up. He built and he told me, Reggie, the reason I built that in North Huntsville because of what you did when you was on that board. He said, you was responsible for making sure that they just gave me the opportunity. I knew he was a good, don't nobody want a bad doctor now. He finished school top of the class. But my goal is with North Huntsville Business Association, and like I said, we are in the process of working with all these organizations to make sure North Huntsville is not left out. All of Huntsville is not left out, not just North Huntsville, because all of Huntsville is important. So what we're doing is putting those things on the table to people like Publix and other people that are not in our community and asking the questions why. And I tell people, I'm not worried about what happened in the past, because we got so much to look forward to. And that's what Doc is going. If we can keep this mind together, and we need all of us. Huntsville is number one in the country, but we need to be number one all over Huntsville, not just in certain parts. So that's what we're doing as North Huntsville Business Association, and we're not focusing just on black companies. We're focusing on all companies to how do we rebuild North Huntsville to make it just as viable as all of Huntsville. So that's what we do. Thanks for the opportunity, and great job. We did have a Juneteenth event, and Judy Harden, that was part of what you did. We had the kids to come up and talk about it. We had an education on Juneteenth, but I agree, that needs to be part of all of the celebrations.
Thank you, Reg. Great stuff, Maurice. And let me say this before Maurice come. And we are working with North Huntsville Business Association, with the Chamber, with a Minority Business Accelerator program that we're trying to bring to this
and trying to get
city.
innovative with workforce inclusion as well.
Yeah, so good stuff.
My question or my comment is, I understand the business growth in Huntsville being the #1 city in the nation, all that things going on, and the diversity going across Huntsville, even with the larger homes being built in North Huntsville. Now, my question is, with all that going on in Huntsville, we have Athens growing, we have Priceville growing, but I'm from Decatur, and we have no growth. My question is, how do we link up some kind of way and get the people in the room to have conversations like these so that Decatur grows also?
Great question. I fortunate, I guess, to sit on the executive board, I guess, council for Lunch 2035. And Lunch 2035 is a collaboration of regionalism that's between, it's 3 counties now. It's expanded, and we have representatives from Decatur, we have representatives from Huntsville, I'm one of those, and we have representatives from Athens and other cities, and we're talking about regionalism, because the fact of the matter is, and Greg, you may want to talk about this some, is that when Huntsville should not grow, and Decatur not grow. The Singing River Trail is trying to hook up business together as well, but in Athens shouldn't grow, and Gunnersville shouldn't grow. We all should be growing together, and it's a matter of people in the community like yourself saying, okay, let's have a conversation. And I hate to say this, saying to mayors and all, say, are we collaborating? Are we taking advantage of the things that's going on in Huntsville? Because I'm from Decatur, and you know this. Now, I do most things in Huntsville. I do sit as the board president, Decatur Business Incubator, the E-Center, and I did that because I want to give back. But I do agree, Decatur should not be left behind at all. We all should be growing together, and we have to have more of these conversations. And maybe we need to take this conversation that I'm having right now, and anybody want to help me, I'll do it, to Decatur, and let's and because things are happening, but they're not happening in a way that's going to move the needle. Sometimes we get caught up in the spectacle. Okay, we get caught up in all the business, but okay, at the end of the day, is the needle being moved? Is more people getting jobs? Are there more opportunities? Things of that nature.
Yeah, you're exactly right. A lot of those conversations are happening. I like what I see that could happen in Decatur for sure. We got challenges. We got 50,000 people that need to move into this region, and where are the houses? Can people still afford housing? Decatur's poised for all of that growth. I would love to live in Decatur personally, and driving 20 minutes or 30 minutes to work is not going to seem like much here in a little bit. I mean, a lot of people. I've tried to program my family and all those that I love, take a few minutes and talk to yourself and say, it's okay that it takes 40 minutes. Because, otherwise we're going to go through decades of road rage. Because the good news is we've got close to $1 billion worth of road projects. The bad news is we've got close to $1 billion worth of road projects. So there's going to be orange pylons everywhere. And leadership in Decatur, Morgan County, Limestone County, now Marshall, is important to have the growth organized and speaking to Montgomery together, speaking to Washington together. There's a huge mega site east, doesn't help Decatur, that's going to help Gurley when a big company comes in and takes that. You got the river problem with Decatur, you got one bridge. Those conversations are going on. Launch 2035, like Doc said, is a great conduit for those conversations. So we'll see.
Okay, we got 2 minutes. Marcia, you have anything to share for 30 seconds?
Sure. So I guess I would just like to say in reference to what you all were talking about, the growth indicator, I think regionalism is an excellent idea, especially for businesses. I myself work for Ability Plus. We're in 4 different counties, largest in Madison County, and for the services that we provide. Also, in my own personal business, I see people from all the states across the whole, from all the cities and across the whole state as a Blue Cross Blue Shield provider, United Healthcare provider, and I also work with DHR. What am I saying? As we break down the silos, across the city lines, across the county lines, we all win. And to me, that's where prosperity begins, especially for business owners.
Absolutely, and so we just keep this going and just keep our mind going to prosper in all our businesses. I promise to get you out by 12. So we have okay. Can I take one more question? Okay. They said yes, so I didn't lie to y'all. Okay, come on, Rodney. He's from Ohio State. He's a little slow.
Good afternoon. I wanted to ask the question, though. I just got back, and it was a concern of mine. I'm part of 100 Black Men of Greater Huntsville chapter, and I'm also the African-American chair at Toyota. And the concern that we did, we took them to a youth conference, and we asked the question about when is St. Patrick's Day? And they were quick and we took these kids 12 to 18. That's the group we're mentoring. And they knew it right off the bat, March 17th. They knew it. And then we asked them about Juneteenth. Only 3 of 17 kids knew, and they didn't even know what it was. So my point I'm bringing up is, how do we bring that into the school system? They knew that from being in school because it is celebrated in school. I remember as a kid, I don't know if you all remember, a pinch to grow an inch, you wore green. They knew that.
Absolutely.
The concern there that us as mentors and the ones that went on that trip, why they don't even know, and these are young Black African-American boys. They have zero clue. They don't know. And I think it needs to be something, how I'm speaking to you of the chamber, how do we incorporate that into our school system?
I'm optimistic. Thank you for being transparent. Till 3 or 4 years ago, I don't think that I'd even heard what Juneteenth was. But watching the news and the celebrations that are going on in our country today, and somebody eloquently said on the news this morning, Juneteenth and July 4th are complementary. They're not competing.
Exactly.
And I do not sense that anyone thinks otherwise. I do sense, like you say, there's ignorance. People don't know what it is. But I think it's going to quickly become mainstream now that it's a federal holiday. It's going to have to be celebrated. Since it's in June, school's not going on. I'm optimistic, maybe I'm naive, that that's going to change. That condition's going to change, and everybody's going to know what it is for as long as human civilization exists or this country exists.
I do. No, I agree with you totally. I think because it has become a federal holiday now, and not just some states but everybody's just celebrating it, that you'll see more festivities, more educational programs, more things happening to educate. And then we have to personally, we have to do our part as ministries, as parents and others to do that.
As party throwers.
Yes, party throwers. Yeah, we want to throw a party.
I would suggest those videos in your talk, be blasted anywhere it can.
And this is going to be on YouTube, so this all will be on Doc Rock on YouTube, so it'll be out there.
And can I say, in the work that you all are doing in the community, mentoring young men, it also begins with that. So a collaboration there. I'm sure someone was in the educational system. If it was 100 Black men, someone had to represent education. So being able to have that piece in that conversation in our prospective professions, I think it all begins there as well. So kudos to what you all are doing.
All right, so give yourself a hand. Give our panel, I just kind of put together and a hand. They good people. I asked Greg and I asked Marcy, and neither one of them could tell me no. But anyway, let's welcome Daniel Castleberry. He's going to come and give us a prayer, and then Dr. Audrey is going to dismiss us.
Well, I know I'm the next last voice before you eat, so I'll be quick, okay? And one thing I do want to say is Steph Curry made a comment the other day, about a year ago, but it came resurfaced, and he said, I have nothing else to prove, but I have a lot to accomplish. And based on all the work that's being done, thank you, Doc, for leading this effort, we've got nothing else to prove. As a city, we're #1 in the country, but we have a lot more to accomplish, and this is just a stepping stone to get us where we need to be. Okay, so let me join me in prayer, please. Most gracious, merciful Heavenly Father, this day you have made, we rejoice and be glad in it, Father. Thank you for this opportunity just to be able to share and dialogue and get rejuvenated for the work that we're going to do out in our communities. Bless for that was prepared and for us, the Father, and bless us that service. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Let's receive Dr. Audrey. She's going to come and dismiss us and then give you instructions about eating. This is our first time doing this, so on Juneteenth. We will do it next year, be bigger and better. I guarantee you that.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for showing up, and I hope that you got a lot out of it. It was wonderful to me. So as we dismiss, I want you to know that you can go out of these doors, and we know that some people are on your lunch break or whatever. There are to-go plates. Go through. We have pinwheels, wings, a lot of food back there. So please go by and grab something, and if you want to sit and chat, and we have an area in there for you to sit in. So thank you all for coming. Put your hands together for everyone, for the panel that was put on the spot here. They were awesome. Okay, so we want you to join us again on next year when we have this again, and we'll make it bigger and come up with some creative ideas. But it is so important that we are aware of what is going on, and like Greg, I think, and Dr. Watkins, and I know that Marcy said, we don't want to exclude anyone from where we're going, okay? So have a wonderful day. Thank you for coming. Blessings to you all. You are dismissed.